this video, I shall be talking about the primary activities and the support activities, which I have discussed already in the earlier video. But here I'll be discussing about the items in detail. So we'll be starting with the part where we left in the earlier class. So the primary activities include uh, those activities which uh, which are directly involved in transforming of inputs, that is raw materials, into outputs, that is finished goods, or in provision of service. And the secondary activities, which can also be known as support activities, uh, provide support to the primary activities, without which the primary activities cannot be continued or cannot be functioning. So the primary activities basically include, so here you'll find it's mentioned inbound logistic operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales and services. So inbound logistics are those activities concerned with receiving, storing and distributing the inputs, or we can say the raw materials, to the production process. So activities of receiving, storing and distributing inputs or raw materials. Next we have operations. This include transforming inputs into final products. So the basic the point where the raw materials is transformed into the final product. So it may include machining, packaging, testing, etc. Then outbound logistics include collecting, storing, distributing the products from the factory line to end consumers. That is, we have already explained in the earlier video regarding warehousing, distributing. These things are done here. Then marketing and sales, obviously, once the item is being produced and it is in the warehouse for sale, so there should be certain marketing procedure or advertising procedure through which people will come to know about it, and it would be sold. Service, which includes repair and after sales and replacement in case there is some damage to the product. Then we have support activities. Support activities include procurement, technological development, human resource management, and firm infrastructure. So procurement includes purchasing of raw materials, supplies, and other consumables required as inputs for the primary activities. So this is basically done by the procurement department. So that particular department will associate itself with other suppliers, outsiders, so that the item can be procured. Technological development includes software, equipments, hardware, where they would provide the support system where so that the functioning can take place or the activities can be coordinated properly. Human resource management will look after the selection and recruitment of employees, and also look after the appraisals so that the performance is good. And firm infrastructure include finance, planning, accounting, legal, etc., which is the which are the basic departments through which an organization functions. So with this, we can come to the end. I'll be giving you one case study as well in relation to this particular uh, porters, or this particular primary activity and the support activity. And then we will be moving on to the next part of the syllabus. So this is the information, this part shall relate to information provided by strategic management accounting. So it's also a part of the unit 1, that is introduction. So we have learned about Porter's 5 forces analysis. So so an industry actually which is might not yield actually high profits just because the industry is large or growing. It does not mean that all the companies inside a particular under a particular industrial sector will yield high profits because the others are yielding. So you'll find the Porter's 5 forces, or Michael Porter's 5 forces or 5 factor model, is a way to understand what are the various things which might affect the uh, a particular industry or particular factory or particular company. So let's see industry structure analysis, Porter's five forces analysis. One is threat of new entrants, one is bargaining power of buyers, one is threat of substitute products or services, and bargaining powers of suppliers, and basically rivalry among the existing competitors. So these things are always there and always affects the profitability and the performance of firms. So let's understand them in detail. Number one is bargaining power of buyers. So bargaining power of buyers actually determines the ability of buyers to push down the price. So you people might have done this in your real life as well, where you negotiate. There is a bargaining between the buyer and and the seller that you'll be buying the product at this price only. So that particular bargaining or that particular way of dealing with sellers is called bargaining power of buyers. This happens when the buyers are concentrated or when the volume purchased by buyer is very high. So also this is done sometimes in retail also we do that particular thing. But sometimes when we buy clothes or when we buy items at larger quantity, we try to negotiate or try to reduce the price. So, when the bargaining power of buyers actually is high, they would be in a position to dictate terms in a firm. So obviously, when if we have a stronger position, then we'll be trying to buy the product at such a rate whereby it is convenient for us. We will not look into the fact that whether it is profitable or convenient for the seller or not. Next we come, so when the bargaining power of buyers is higher, it affects the profitability obviously. So next is bargaining power of suppliers. So bargaining power of suppliers will be higher when the input is important to the buying firm, or when when there are very few suppliers in the input. So this thing relates to that when the input is very rare and only one or two firms are supplying. If it is only one firm that is monopoly, then there is no chance of bargaining. But in case there are number two or three more, then the suppliers bargaining increases because the supplier can now charge at a higher rate. And also, if it's very important for the buying firm or the buying individual, he or she may not, or that particular firm may not look into the price at all. The significant changes of the price will also not affect the buying firm. So we can give the example of Microsoft. So it dominates the operating system, right? If it is Windows, we operate with whether it's Windows or any other software. Generally, we use this Microsoft package whereby it is easier for us to access. So it is one of the dominant ones. So prices, generally whatever it is, we have to pay the particular price. Then we come to threat of substitute products or services. So when multiple close substitutes are available in the market as well, understand, for a particular product, customers become very choosy and try to switch between two suppliers. So if one supplier is not acting or not providing the service properly, then there is a very high chance of sending or letting that particular supplier go. So we can give the example of problem like example of Reliance Jio. With the launch of Reliance Jio, customers have switched. Most of the customers have switched to other sectors, or sorry, to Reliance Jio, whereby the prices were low at first, and as well as at the first point of time, the prices were the items were given, or the services were given free of charge, or at a particular very low rate. At a very low rate, the items were being sent. So next is the threat of new entrants. New entrants means if in an industry a particular firm is operating at for a longer period of time, and later on it finds that there is a threat, or there is a competitive firm which has startup which has been launched, or which has entered into a particular segment where there was only one firm or two firms. Now with this, there arises the threat of uh, new entrants. So every time there's every time a product is produced or there is a service, there's always the threat that a new entrant or new firm may enter this segment. So that is why the firms try to make the customers or the buyers feel very loyal, like feel give them all the services so that they remain loyal even if there are new competitors in the market. So that is one case where the profitability may be affected because of entrance of new firms. Next is intensity of competition or rivalry amongst firms. So intensity of competition is that how the firms negotiate or how the firms are there, like when the firms produce a particular product, what is the range that they are occupying. So if the same type of product is being produced as well as being sold in the same market by 2 to 3 firms, then there is cutthroat competition. But if only there is only, suppose in northeast region of India, there is this particular firm is selling shampoos only in northeast India, then even though there may be lot many companies in India, but this northeast region is being occupied by this company, the northern region is occupied by another company, but this does not happens. What happens is that when the goods are produced, it is being sold across the country irrespective of any region. So there comes the cutthroat competition. So the intensity of competition is higher when firms are more or less equal in size also. So if the firms are also equal in size, then also they will try to produce and sell the items generally in the same ways, because their thoughts or ideologies will also be almost in the similar track. And also you'll find product differentiation, because product differentiation should be there, but what happens when there is cutthroat competition is that there is likely lesser chances of high product differentiation. So with this we come to the end of this particular part. In the next video I'll be talking about some more information which we learned from strategic management accounting.